Hey, good morning, everybody. It is Monday. It's 11th September. So we keep in prayer today those harmed by the terrorism acts of so many years ago. And we continue with our gospel today from Luke chapter 6, verses 6 through 11. It's an interesting scene. It's a scene of Jesus in conflict with religious leaders. And he's in a synagogue, and as you read it, you understand what's going on. And there's an interesting point here. Friday night, went to the play called Equivocation out at Reno Little Theater. It was a good play, but the part of the equivocation part, without going too much into play, was about asking the right question. And the question was asked. Well, these people were asking a question, but the real question is underneath it, and that's the one that you answer to. And called equivocation because the answer is not yes or no in that sense. So I think this is what Jesus is kind of getting at, is this, you have these, what's the real question here? The religious leaders are all worried about protecting the law because the law says. And Jesus is like, well, what's the real question? He says, is it about the law or is it about life and doing good or not doing good? And of course, the real question is about doing good. And of course, then the leaders don't like us. They look for ways to get after Jesus. But I like this because I think we have to ask ourselves this. I think this is what Jesus challenges me and us to do, is what are we really asking? What are we really doing? Because I've seen this in other people. We need to keep these people out because they are X, Y, and Z. Like, what's the real question? The real question is not about whether those people are following the law or not. The real question is, where are our hearts? Are we too fearful? Are we not doing good because our hearts are closed? And that's the real question. And I think that's what we have to ask. When we all get into righteous indignation, I am right, and we're all self-justified. That's a danger. As soon as we feel that I am right because, and we have the law to back us up, I think we need to stop ourselves and say, what's really going on here? I think it's the ego usually going on. At least, maybe I'm just talking about me because that's usually what's going on with me. And maybe the rest of you are all good, and maybe it's just me and I need to think about that. But that's what it is for me. And that's how I kind of see things too, how I kind of act. I'm like, what's the real truth behind this? And what's the invisible reality, if we're going to use sacramental language? What's the invisible reality behind this visible side? So, and I think that's part of being engaged in our human life. We're not called to live on a superficial life. We're called to live with a life with meaning, with depth. And that means we have to go in and look here and look here to ask ourselves what's going on. All right? So hopefully that makes sense, guys. I will see you back here tomorrow. Enjoy the day. Take care. Bye-bye.